you're gonna be spending $1,800, $1,600 on it. But, and then the shipping was, so it was like, let's just change the verbiage and, yes, just right. And he took care of it as soon as we got everything and, changed the address and all that good stuff, so. Yes, it's like, we're talking $175, let's just take care of it.
My dad turned 82.
96. For like 5 years, he told the lady, see you next time. Oh, these are home.
I can talk
There's
on the
no
phone.
plaster in
Yeah,
there.
he does not sound.
How's Josh doing?
Over the phone.
Tired.
He does
Oh,
not
return
sound.
better.
Right.
Mentally exhausted.
Late 60s,
Honestly, I don't.
67, like-
Yeah, well, just tired, can't sleep sometimes.
It's cool. Molly's got these Bill Cosby sleeping pills, I call them.
You
I
ever
don't
tried?
think you can call them that.
Oh, I can't call them.
Have you tried?
You need to find a new name.
They're
Josh, have you tried valerian root?
I don't try anything.
Well, it's a natural.
I, yeah, try to go to sleep, sometimes it works.
I've been an insomniac my whole life ever since I was a kid, you know, it's like.
Please. I'll volunteer.
Mike,
No, I didn't. You got
How's your leg doing?
huh?
How's your leg doing?
I was doing all right.
Oh, yeah.
I get to go hike around Goat Lake here on Saturday, so I'm ready. Fly up to Skagway. We're looking at maybe trying to put a couple more feet on our hydro lake up there for storage. So gonna fly up there with surveyor and get everything surveyed out, all the elevations, and then I'll look and see what we need to do structurally and concrete wise to build it and see what the ground looks like. So fly in Saturday morning, out Sunday afternoon because I couldn't get on an earlier flight. So I'll spend the night in Juneau and up there, and on the way back, so I'll be able to hang out with the boy for a little while. And then I'll be back Monday morning at 8:30.
Black Bear Lake okay now?
Black Bear Lake is awesome. We got that extra 18 inches on it, brought it back up to the original elevation of the spillway it was in 95. And with all the water that we had and a few other things, we ran almost 100, you know, besides a little bit peaking at Silver Bay, 99% hydro. We're on 100% hydro right now. Black Bear Lake still got 45% storage on it. So it's, yeah, South Fork is run a river, so it's not doing anything besides motor and an HG. Long Eye Hydro's putting out 500 kW every peaking. That's all we really need. So, and right now it's just Viking and the mine because Silver Bay shut down a couple weeks early. But
I see the mine, or I heard the mine is putting out some new equipment.
yeah, they put out a new, instead of a ball mill, it's I was actually out there today and I had to sign some paperwork, and they I'm not sure exactly what it is, but they get 30% more of their fine gold out of the product than they were before, because the rest of it, they put it in gunny sacks and send it out and to get refined, you know, probably through an elixir, but it's amazing what they got going on. Are we ready for on the audio?
I think the audio's on.
All righty, call this meeting to order at 6:31. Roll call, please.
Mayor Casey Smith,
Here.
Chanel McKinley. Here. Michael Kempich.
Here.
Millie Schoonover is attending, hopefully over the phone.
If not excused.
Okay. Josh Bennett.
Here.
Shauna Thomas. Here. Jan Trojan. Here.
All right. Motion to approve consent agenda as written.
A motion to approve the consent agenda is written.
Second.
open for discussion.
I'd like to add something that I thought should be on our agenda, and that's the roadless rural recession. It's up for comment up until, I think, the 19th of this month. I'm surprised there's nothing on here seeing how we live in the Tongass. And there should be a comment from the city of Craig. I'd like to add this. We can get copies if you guys approve it to new business.
Absolutely.
Could you provide us copies? I move to amend the consent agenda and add to new business, looking for a comment for
Robert's Rule Act.
roadless rural act.
Second.
Move. We'll get back over and do that one more time. We should do it clear.
She can take notes while she's making copies.
Yeah, I haven't had any letters from the community or anybody on that, so unless the council or the community puts out there, then our opinion is the council's opinion, the team's opinion. So,
Oh, you're fine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And while you're away, I said I moved to amend the current consent agenda and add this to new business for comment to be posted to, there's a link in here, about the roadless rural act.
Okay.
Thank you. Shauna second.
okay, all those in favor for the amendment?
Aye.
All right. Open for discussion.
Millie, and I missed out the first part.
All right, Millie, we're in the middle of approving the consent agenda. Councilmember Bennett made a motion to add the roadless rule comments to the roadless rule to new business. There was a first and seconded. We just approved that. Now we are looking to approve the consent agenda as written,
As amended.
as amended.
Okay,
I guess
thank
amended.
you.
Thank you. All right, no more discussion. Approve consent agenda as amended.
All right.
All right.
All right, no objections. Moving to hearing to the public. Open for public comment. Please state your name.
Do I have to stand anywhere, or is this fine?
I can hear you, you're good.
Okay, Dennis Watson, 51-year resident, Craig, former mayor. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you guys for a minute about 14C3. There's been a lot of chatter about it lately. And I was the lead negotiator for the city of Craig, so I know what went on in those negotiations. And through two different leaderships at Sean Seat. When we started, Gordon James was in the leadership at the time, and we actually, after a lot of pushing and shoving, we came this close to an agreement. And the contentious issue was how much residential development property we wanted and where it was at. And Sean Seat had an election, and Gordon was gone. So Glenn Charles, enter Glenn Charles, and Glenn took a look at it and said, everything's out. So we went back to ground zero. And we had actually done a lot of work. It was sort of like a comprehensive plan, because a lot of what we got, was for utilities. There was sewer and water, and there was a healthcare center, and J.T. Brown Marine Industrial Park, and so on. So gradually, things began to loosen up, and then it all went to pieces again, and we had an impasse in it. We didn't see each other for a while, and it was probably a good thing, because Rick Duville approached me and he was a Sean Seat board member at the time, and he says, hey, you about ready to get this thing off the table, this 14C3 thing? And I said, yeah. And he says, well, Glenn wants to talk to you. And so I went down with Rick and we talked to Glenn and we jump-started it again and got it going. And the stuff that we had worked on before, particularly the sites, you know, for the utilities and stuff like that, all went through fairly well. There was some off and on discussion about the road. And we wound up with the road in the deal. I wished it wouldn't have worked out that way. I actually wish I would have kept the darn thing. But you know, we needed the right of way for the water system. And thankfully, they had let us get in there early before we'd settled and continue building the water system that had been going. We started that back when I got on the council the first time back in the early 80s. And anyway, so what happened, we added all that in and we sat down and we subtracted a lot of what we asked for in residential development. And we wound up with the Salmonberry subdivision across from Chauncey Trailer Court and a large acreage out in Port St. Nicholas. And we said, okay, you know, that sounds good. And I think they threw in the San Hay Trail as a joke. And anyway, we all agreed on it. And the city agreed, Sean Seats people agreed, and I can tell you without any doubt, we did not talk about whether or not we could sell that land because those residential properties were going to be sold. You know, the fact was that we were going to do that. And it would have been, that would have thrown us back into an impasse again. It wasn't even discussed, wasn't on the table, wasn't in the act, wasn't in the agreement. So I don't know where the notion come from that you shouldn't be selling Sean Seat property, but that's not the case at all. And anyway, you know, we settled. We were all happy. I blew it. I forgot to ask for the high school site, and I went to Glenn and I said, "Look, Glenn, I know you could probably throw me out of the office, but I forgot to put the high school site on there." And Glenn looked at me and said, "Hey, I can take that to the board." And the board passed it. It was the only one with a covenant on it. If they said, yeah, we're going to go ahead and let you have this in 14C3, if you don't build a high school on it, you will return it to us. We said, fine, because, you know, we had everything all lined up to get going on that. And, you know, I tell everybody, if you ever name that high school, name it after Glenn Charles, because he didn't have to do that. You know, we had a handshake on that deal, and I built a lot of respect for him the way he held with it, and I wish that I would have known what I knew when we finally settled it back when we first started. It would have been an easier pull than it was. It was pretty difficult because none of us really understood the act, and we got a big education while we went through it. But anyway, I thought I'd let you know that. I've heard a lot of scuttlebutt on the street about what didn't happen, and I can tell you there was no mention of that. So. And if you ever have questions about it, it's still in my mind. So I probably should write it down somewhere, you know, because it was pretty arduous. And a lot of, not only our, between Sean Seat and the city of Craig, but between BLM and the Department of Interior, they all had to agree. The federal oversight on this thing was harsh. I mean, every move we made, they were watching because they didn't want it to be spoiled. And anyway, it worked out good. I think we did a lot of good with 14C3 lands. One of the big things, you know, that we're pushing for, and the city's always pushing for, is tax base. We were fortunate enough to get two big leasers that could you know, they paid out of their own pocket for Petromarine and Silver Bay. You don't often have that happen. Everybody else has to go to the bank. So Kenny and his two operations down there had to go to the bank. Otis had to go to the bank, and you know, so and of course the bank likes to have collateral. And the city lightened their stance on the way we dealt with that stuff when the reality of it was, you know, you need to have something to make the bankers happy if you're going to make that thing roll. So keep that in mind, you know, when you're deliberating on this, because I think as Craig's dwindling in size, I think these things are more important than they were a long time ago. When we had 1,800 people, it was easy to make things work. And now, we're struggling to make it work because, we have so few people in town and the tax base has really shrunk. So, anyways, I didn't want to debate it or anything with you. I just wanted to tell you what happened. I was there, and please give it consideration when you're dealing with these things. So, I thank you for letting me speak.
No, thank you. All right.
Lisa Radke, can you hear me? The question I had was, the resolution 2510. I gave you a copy.
Yes.
I just put it there. I only had one extra copy of it, but that was establishing the Craig Tourism and Advisory Committee. And I just had a question on the purpose of it. It says, the purpose of the Tourism Advisory Committee is to advise the City Council and Mayor on strategies, opportunities, and issues related to tourism promotion, visitor services, and economic development through tourism in the City of Craig. And I think I was here when we were discussing making the advisory committee, and there was a problem with the trail going down to the cemetery where there was congestion because of tourist activities there. Wasn't that sort of the impetus in getting sort of feedback from the community?
There was a lot of discussion in the community about access permits. We have a lot of change coming to the community, and you can't, you don't get a lot of community involvement all the time until stuff starts happening. And so it's given the community opportunity. It's not saying that the city has taken any action on being for or against it. We're here for the community, so it creates an advisory community for the community to be advisory committee to us to say, hey, we are okay with so X amount of people maybe going or this access permit or are not here. And then it's not us discussing it in one meeting or two meetings, because not everybody, even if you do have the first reading or something like that, not everybody's involved until the decision has already happened. So with these access permits that are being requested to us, it's time for the community to get involved. And this is one way with the committee that people are interested in doing.
Okay, so the question I had was, reading this, it sounds like it's very pro-tourism. Now, is it also to address the possible ramifications or impact of tourism of the people that live here?
That's what it's mostly for, actually. Yes, absolutely. I didn't want, because a lot of people thought that when this was discussed, that all of a sudden we were taking a stand on tourism and for the tourism side of things. But no, what provoked us was people in the community that didn't want to see certain changes in certain parts of the community as these, big tour ships start coming in across Southeast, and the more and more that show up, a lot of the communities are trying to downsize, and we wanted to get a hold on it before that happens. First year was 12 ships. This year's 28 ships. Next year's 55 to 60 ships. And so seeing how this worked for the community with 28 ships, now we have an advisory committee, and maybe it was, rather than wording it, derogatory one way or another, it was just kind of opened up as we are here to listen to the community and see what they want to do with the community. If it's not, we're not reaping a whole bunch of tax benefits at this for the biggest post, but a lot of people read this in that we were for charter fishing and not commercial fishing. And that was the exact opposite. It was like, why don't we have a fishing committee? It's like, well, no one's come up to us and asked us to have a fishing committee. You guys want to have a fishing committee? Let's start a commercial fishing committee. So I hope it wasn't construed as we were for tourism. It's for the community. Any advisory committee is for the community to advise us, because you guys are the ones searching out and talking to the community and putting everything out there. You kind of see what access permits we had this year. They're going to be asking probably for the same ones plus more next year. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, because that's what was in my mind, that it was sort of to address any concerns that the community had. But the pushback I was getting, that I had heard that was happening in the advisory committee, that this was more of a advertisement for tourism as opposed to addressing, possible impacts on people's lives here. And so, if possible, if you guys want to I don't know if you could do an amendment to add like a bullet point in there under responsibility, something to address the community concerns, on encroachment on their lives here. It might be helpful for the advisory committee, because I see that there's minutes here that's supposed to be coming from the tourism committee here, but Andy and I have the same email address, and I haven't seen those minutes.
Okay. Yeah, we would hope the advisory committee would probably give us the minutes from their meetings. And I know they don't, I know they're still got one more person on the committee to go. But it'd be really helpful if the advisory committee might make a couple amendments to this and put it on our next week's or September's agenda.
Well, it sounds like it's on here, talking to Rebecca, but Andy has
We need
mentioned
to
it.
pull the
I don't
minutes
know
off of
if it has to be.
We need to pull the minutes off of it.
For this one.
Oh, for the
It needs to
minutes.
go on the next meeting. But just the tourism minutes need to go on the next meeting,
Okay.
Why?
because they haven't reviewed them yet.
Okay.
Who submitted them?
Yeah, no one submitted them yet.
Someone had to submit those meeting minutes.
I mean, they were emailed to me and I just assumed they had done their process, and so that I should have clarified.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a routine for the minutes or not for that.
It's-
Anyways,
yeah.
thank you very much. That provides a lot of clarification because, people were kind of confused about that. Thank you.
No, perfect. Yeah, it'd be, if I would have seen this under resolutions and ordinances, I would have assumed we were amending it, not just taking minutes off of it. But if somebody, would like to, I guess it's really helpful, even with the harbor committee, if they bring suggestions to us, instead of the ones talking to everybody in the community, on amendments. And we would be more than happy to, take some time and look at that and make those amendments, and we'll put it on, next meeting under, resolutions, ordinances. Mr. Mike?
Yeah, I think it would be a good idea to put something in there, similar to what, we're hearing. When we talked about forming this committee, we did have a lot of discussion about lifestyle and concerns with the community, and, somehow we can do it in a positive way, we can put that in there. I don't wanna see something negative on tourism, but recognize that local lifestyle has to be highly considered. I think that's fair. And just so you know, Lisa, that when we did discuss, putting this committee together, there was a lot of discussion about lifestyle and people being concerned about, maintaining the lifestyle here and not seeing us lose kind of a control like, we've seen in other communities. So I think people are well aware of that. Maybe it wasn't reflected as well as it could have been, but we clearly had that discussion. Is that fair?
I would say so.
I thought I heard that also. I'm thinking that maybe the committee members didn't all hear that,
Well, we can reflect that, I think. I think that's fair to do.
Thank you.
Want to do that next council meeting, or you guys want it? Perfect, it'll give us some time to do some verbiage on it. Awesome. No, you're very welcome.
As long as we do have them here to at least look at, can I ask about one thing? And if they're going to be reviewed under tourism discussion, it says commercial fishing has 3 groups: trollers, seiners, and sport fishing.
I'm sorry.
The minutes weren't looked at.
Yeah, they.
The minutes were not looked at.
There's no guild bidders in there. That's a joke.
Yeah. And I'll pass this on to Becca so she can, have that in, for next meeting with some written suggestions on it. Absolutely, yeah, I know this is what it was for. We're never gonna get it perfect the first time, so, absolutely. Community involvement is why we're here, appreciate it. All right. Any more hearings from the public? All right. Moving on to reports from city committees, tourism committee minutes.
Nope, we just did that.
Yep, boom, reports from city council. All right, I'll go first. Where do I start? Been a busy couple of weeks. We did, have an executive session to discuss the 14C3 land, mostly pertaining down to JT Brown subdivision. And coming out of that meeting, we basically come to the conclusion that there's nothing really restricting the sale of 14C3 land. However, there's been no cases against selling C3P land. We do not own the surface rights or the subsurface rights. We only own the surface rights. So those do belong to Sean C. So basically, if we are looking at Sealaska, I'm sorry, Sealaska. So basically, if we are looking at selling any of this land, it should come with the agreements, hold harmless agreements, and set forth the restrictions on the subsurface rights. Basically, the properties down at JT Brown subdivision already been, developed, but you can still go down there and dig a big hole and still be underneath the subsurface rights of Sealaska. So that's basically what we came out of in the meeting. It was only held in executive session so we could discuss it as a group, and that's basically what we came out of that. The rest of it, the day-to-day operations, we've got 3 different applications so far, still going through the application process and 6 other job openings for the city. So anybody's looking for a job, tell them to come up to City Hall and put an application in. Been kind of wrapping into the grants. We all got together, everybody who's associated with the grants this week, and we kind of went through all of our grant applications and seen where we are. Going to be going to Southeast Conference here in the middle of September, and wanted to be able to make sure that had all of the information and knew who I needed to talk to see where money's at, where it's coming from, and where we're at with our grants. Met with EMS and fire a little bit about emergency evacuation, and had a productive meeting about that. They just got done coming from a training, so if anybody has any questions for me, I'm here.
I have 3 applicants for admin.
For the administration, yes, for
Okay.
city administrator. I figured once we get some good applications, we're looking at also creating a committee for hiring committee. I figured I was gonna put that on next agenda when we have a full council. I know there's 2 council members that, and even all the council want to be involved.
I'd like to do it.
You would like to be involved? Okay.
I've done it a few times.
All right. Yeah, I figured we'd discuss the committees. We'll put that on the agenda so everybody can kind of see in the community about what we want to see a committee to look like. So, yes. Any questions for me?
Interim administrator, is there any interest or anything on that?
I'm gonna keep looking. I'm gonna use Southeast Conference for a good time to get with everybody at AML and see. I've gone through several different people looking for recommendations. I've even got on a website. There's quite a few websites out there that do just that. But it's probably gonna come with a pretty penny. So as of right now, I'll just keep playing out in the field. We've got a great staff that's keeping everything going, and they're plenty capable of keeping me out of trouble. So, but if we can find an interim for the time being, it'd be great. Yeah. Mr.
We, after David Palmer left, we had 2 what they call range riders come in, and worked out really well. We got Rocky Gutierrez from Sitka, who is an administrator up there for years, and this other character, Gary, I can't think of his last name, he was great too. And it was really good because we had a lot of things coming down, grants and stuff like that, and they kept everything flowing, and until, then I think we hired Tom Briggs after that. We had him for a lot of years, but that range rider program is really good if they still have it. I don't know if that still exists.
On the AML site, there's a list of all these guys that are willing to step in, including the previous planner. He's still out there, Mr. Lanning. He wants in.
You kind of left us hanging.
Yeah, yes, unfortunately, but yes, and it's gonna come with some good recommendations and
Yeah,
definitely, yeah.
there's like 15 on there, including a previous state senator. So there's quite a few guys on there,
Yeah, right on.
the AML side.
We've reached out to AML, we're advertising in AML, so, yes, we're not supposed to go to these meetings and, still staff, but, no, there's, gloves are off this time, so. All right, any more questions for me?
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Moving on to Kimber, Finance Director.
I submitted a written report and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yes.
Just a request, and you know, normally you do this, I know you were gone, but I like seeing our, our endowment fund report, the one-page sheet you do.
Yeah, I put in this report, it wasn't available by the time I tried to do the report.
I
They
do
come
like
out a
seeing,
little bit late, yeah.
I like seeing it, appreciate it, and I know you do that normally, so,
No problem.
thank you.
All right, any more questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
He's one of the main ones keeping me out of trouble. Keeping everything going. Moving on to Becca, City Clerk.
I did submit a written report as well. Do you want to remind everybody, tomorrow's the last day to submit candidacy forms. At this point, I have all except one seat with at least one candidate submitted for it. So
One school board seat is still open with no candidacy so far.
I spoke to a gentleman today who's picked up a form, but I don't have it back yet.
Any questions for Becca?
I just had a comment on the Southeast Conference for Council. You said that they already attended the Southeast
did.
Conference,
It
so
was they
if we could
attended.
amend that and say will be attending.
Sure.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
is that the only conferences for the clerks? The Northwest, that's in June?
There's one in Anchorage in December, and there's one in June in Washington.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to Ivy Planning.
I submitted a written report. The only change that I have right now is the planning commission won't be meeting until the 25th of September to make a ruling on MRV's master plan for Cannery Point.
And also next council meeting, I plan on having track D, all of the information that we were submitted by the contractor for that, as well as maybe if the council's open to maybe a grant application possibility coming up next June for housing. Might move on and on with that track D. Any questions for Ivy?
I'm sorry, I have a comment. You wrote that you completed a walkthrough with Justin on the youth center.
I did.
Were you given a list of things that needed to be repaired? Yeah.
We looked at a couple of items and discussed them. I've not been handed the list.
Okay.
I can comment on that. Theory right now is the list is pretty lengthy. So depending on what a tenant might want, we could use that as a negotiate, I mean, if they want everything, we can provide, budgets for that, but it's building's in pretty bad shape. So it's where do you start, where do you stop, so, but that's kind of the theory we're running with right now.
And there's an RFP going out for that, for businesses to see what kind of businesses, because basically in the zoning, it says it's open for public use, and the list of them is not anything that has to do with the commercial use. And so if we do get an RFP out there to, like saying that somebody wants to start up a hair salon or something, that's gonna go to zoning, planning and zoning to rezone that as a commercial property. I know there was talk about maybe just selling it in the past. I mean, if we don't get anything up there that is too lengthy, we do have an appraisal on it, so we do know the appraisal price. So kind of leaving that open to see what's going to come in for applications for the RFPs, as well as what's going to be worth it. Because I believe we're like right around $2,100 a month just to make the lease payments for that property, it came in like around 305,000 or something like that, so, we'll see what we get for RFPs and then look for council guidance once we have that advertised for the well.
I have not received any RFPs yet either.
It went out this last week, so. That's fine, this agenda's a little light, but they'll keep coming as we keep going, so. Any more questions for Mike?
How much did you anticipate a lease might be for?
As of right now, we would not be able to charge any less than right around $2,052, so roughly around $2,100 a month for the lease. That's just for the lease, that's not to lights and heat and so on and so forth. Yeah. That's why it's kind of nice getting these appraisals ahead of time, and then we know what kind of businesses. I couldn't imagine somebody paying the lease and then coming in here and being like, well, I can't afford to lease that piece of property. So part of, I would love to start looking in at some of these ordinances to look at changing them to make it easier for lease and property on the city's behalf. But, yeah. And we went through an extensive list with Ivy on the grants and keeping the ball rolling, so, as well as Karen Cruz and Oliver. So.
I met with fire and EMS today too.
Yeah, met with the fire hall grant with the fire chief and.
Mr. Mayor, I do have one question for Ivy. What's been your biggest expense? Your budget is you're halfway there, aren't you? For your yearly budget?
I don't understand the question.
What's been your biggest expense, and you only have half of your remaining budget for this year?
MRV?
I'm not sure. I can meet with Kimber on that.
Probably MRE, and then I'm not sure if the track D was tacked onto this budget, should have been tacked onto last year's budget.
Yeah, she's 161 and she has 80 left. She's halfway there.
Yeah, my budget's, we cash flow a lot of things for loans, and they look terrible. And then when we,
Get that money back.
when we get the money back on the loans, they look better. I can't speak for Isaac.
Yeah.
Mine do that often.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to fire EMS coordinator. You guys fight it out.
I submitted a report, but after the deadline, I don't think it made it. No. If you all would like a copy of that, I can give it to you. You got a copy? I'll take it. So you have a copy in front of you. I can answer any questions.
Mr. Mayor, I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
The only reason I'm asking this because you had it in the last report. Your power gurney loader located, now working on getting to FOW. Where are we at with that? Because I think that was a pretty expensive.
So it is an expensive thing. The issue with getting it up here is the transporting it to AML from down south and then having them ship it up to us. And we're also looking into where we actually can have that device installed into the ambulance. So it might be with us having to take an ambulance out of service to Ketchikan or even somewhere else to have someone properly install that device.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for all your hard work. Nate, do you want to add anything, or are you good?
I'm here if anybody has questions. Like Casey mentioned, we went to a tsunami meeting last week in Ketchikan. And they talked about a range of things between tsunamis, landslides, storm readiness. They brought up several different government agencies and different directions to look and programs. So we're kind of in a whirlwind in headspace, just trying to figure out where Craig sits. Talked to Ivy briefly about it. I'm trying to go through paperwork and then move forward from where we currently are to where we should be.
All right. Thank you. There are no questions. Move on to Hans, Harbor Master.
Mr. Mayor, I submitted a written report. I'd just like to add a few things to it. We just got the all the bearings replaced on the incline auger at the ice house. It's a big, heavy job to do. So we got that done. We just returned the rented forklift, because the season's winding down. There's less use of the forklift out at the ice house. You will see on the new business, we do have a vacancy for the Harbor Advisory Committee, and I'd just like to officially thank Pat Tyner for all of his years of service on that committee. We are going to be working on permanent mortgage assignments, and with that will come a lot of slip reassignments and working off the waiting list and such. And then just like to also add that I do have some leave time planned. I'll be leaving middle of this month, and I'll be back to work the 13th of October. So happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Yeah, ask about the bullet number 2 and, you know, understand the need, but hiring a new harbor maintenance worker. Is that something you anticipate doing shortly?
The position's advertised. I haven't had any applicants for it, Mike, so I don't know. I would like to have one. That would be handy. I'd rather have another assistant harbor master before the assistant harbor master position that's open is more crucial than the harbor maintenance worker, but they are both open.
And the harbor master assistant is starting off at $19 an hour.
No, that's the bottom of the scale. I can start someone higher.
Yeah, I was reading through it here, and we amended something on it there the other day. It said you must be 8 years old with high school diploma. But and then at the bottom of it says starting out at $19 an hour. And so I was looking at it, you know, we got other positions starting off at $20-some an hour. So looking at it as a $19 an hour job, I was wondering if that might not be why anybody's actually applying for it.
Was that the maintenance worker?
No, that was just right up there on the board when you walked in. It's actually for the assistant harbor master.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, following up on that, you know, I know the harbors are running a deficit in terms of hiring, you know, another personnel. Is that something that was discussed in the budget committee meeting, or?
Yes.
The hire a maintenance person?
Mm-hmm. It's been on the budget for the last 3 or 4 years, and I've filled the position the last 2 years. But they've kind of been people. It's not a full-time. It's not a full-time position. It doesn't pay great, and so it's been kind of I don't know if transient's the word to use or what, but it's kind of I've had some turnover in that position.
Okay.
All right, more questions? Moving on to Chief Healy, I believe he's on the phone. He's not a little under the weather today.
Yeah, I am here. I submitted a report. If there's any questions, be happy to answer them.
Well, it's been a busy last couple of weeks.
So that it is. Very.
I guess we are working on the dispatch agreement as well as the on-call agreement with the city of Quack, or having the attorney look over those agreements, as well as EMS agreement. We'll be having to look over. That's where we're at with that. If anybody has any questions. Any questions for Chief? All right, moving on to Oliver.
Submit a written report, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
I have one, just kind of a comment and question. You know, it's unfortunate to see Mr. Ward leave. You know, having somebody part-time in a position like that, you know, I know it works very well for you, and then your full-time staff can be committed. Do you anticipate looking for another part-time person that would fit that?
Yeah, we're
I mean, it hasn't been very long since he left, and he retired on good terms.
Right, no, I understand it.
He was a big asset to
Right.
come in, and it's pretty hard job to do, you know, keeping track of it and manipulating the vehicle. He was leaving a big hole, and so we've currently moved some staff around to deal with that. And the conversation, we're kind of weighing a couple of options of how we staff that. There's not a lot of guys walking around with a CDL that want to work, you know, 5 hours a day every other day. So yes, we would replace him in a heartbeat if the guy walked in the door. But what I can tell you is that we have reopened job applications, and for whatever reason, we couldn't get anybody to bite on these, particularly the water training position. And today we had we interviewed 3 applicants out of the blue same week, and so we're always kind of looking at them for other positions at the same time. And I don't know if today any of the applicants today, you know, met any of that, but yeah, we're kind of going deep into the roster. We have some, you know, people on vacation, and so we have Travis White, who is a backup sewer operator, who has his CDL and is pretty decent equipment operator. So we're gonna try him out on Monday.
Okay.
So sorry, ladies in the office, you're gonna be getting some calls. And we're gonna do our best to slow everybody down and take their time. So anyway, we're working on it. Don't really have a good plan at the moment, but you know, it's on our mind how we reorient the crew to pick up that slack.
I just, you know, I think it's great to have part-time people that can fill in for these kind of needs. It benefits the city, and if somebody, you know, is looking for part-time employment, that's great. So I applaud continuing to try to do that.
Thank you.
Any more questions for all?
Mr. Mayor, this is Millie.
Yes, Millie?
Yeah, in regards to the water, I was just wondering what our water level is at the dam, being how we haven't had rain for a while.
Dave?
I will check on it tomorrow. Thank you for asking. I would guess it to be,
Pretty good.
still good. I'm sure it's not coming over the weir at this point, but I would say that it's within 2 feet of being full. It typically fills up fairly quickly. I feel comfortable with where I'm assuming it is. We'll get to the next rain spell fairly easy, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, my hydros are still got 11 CFS going into them at Lake Josephine, where it's been dry out as well. So it's really been amazing. This last wet, you know, spring, summer has really saturated those uplands, and they're actually still draining. It's, yeah, keeping hydro still running with just the runoff. So, yeah,
I think that, you know, when we lifted the, you know, the level of the lake some years back, that gave us a lot more capacity, and, you know, a situation like what we're experiencing right now, that proves the benefit of, you know, that foresight.
yeah, Third Bay shut down a couple weeks early, so that played a big tell on everything as well. So,
I always like to take this opportunity to say the dam has held up. We go up there every few weeks, but in the last few weeks, Dave hasn't made it up there. But the tank level has gotten mission critical a few times with Silver Bay running. They're done, which helps a lot. But Dave is pretty good about giving me a weekly update of just shy of screaming that we've gotten pretty close to being like emergency level on water. So we did really well this year. Our capital budget allowed us to make some pretty big improvements for next year that we're going to focus on over the winter. So, but I always like to take an opportunity to tell the council how dire the water tank levels have gotten since I've been here for 2 years. So we're with really good staff and a lot of hours, we've gotten it done.
yeah, I'm looking forward to looking at some of those water grants that we were looking at the other day for FOD and seeing, getting creative. I was gonna get with the water guys before I head up to Southeast Conference as well and figure out where and what do we want to spend it on first. So.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Any more questions for Public Works or Public Facilities? Moving on to Gretchen, she's absent and excused. She's provided a written report, so.
She's in France.
She's in France. Parlez-vous français? All right. moving on to the Aquatic Center.
I submitted a written report, happy to answer any questions.
There's big. Do you have any questions for? Okay. And then moving on to Stephanie at the library.
I submitted a written report, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, I did walk to the library with Stephanie this week. She has some materials that she had purchased recently, fans, like some heater issues going on, some flooring. I requested her to get a quote from electrical company for the heaters and the fans and the lights, and bring it back to us to see what kind of money might be allocated for at least the lighting and the fans and maybe the heaters in the bathroom. But besides that, any questions for, yes?
Just, acknowledging, it's nice to see you acknowledge the history of the library and the 19th anniversary.
All right, thank you, staff. Moving on to reading correspondence, letter from Eric Johnson. All right. Moving on to consideration of resolution ordinances, resolution 25-14, establish shutter engraving rates.
I move to approve resolution 2514 as amended.
Second.
Open for discussion. So as we're kind of piloting our way through this new program, Becca's been doing great. We figured out that shipping's potentially going to be a huge factor when we do this, due to the fact that we ship these out and they ship them back to us. We put them in a crate. At some point in time, stuff does become damaged. Being that this is our first time dealing with this issue, we will be more particular, not only about crating, but also about maybe insuring the package. So knowing that prices change all the time, instead of bringing it back to the council every time for amendment with new pricing, kind of got creative on the wording of it. So thank you, Becca. All right, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, new business, Aquatic Center kitty pool resurfacing request.
So I just want to clarify, it's only 32K because it said it was 115.
I believe what the request was for 50,000 and repairs being 30,000. And yeah, there was a couple different quotes in there.
But it's just 32K.
Yep, and with the request from the council for to spend up to 50,000. You might be able to.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, were there any other offers?
Any other, there's a few bids in there.
There's 4 bids.
Yep.
Those are the 4 willing to come out here and do it.
Yep.
I requested from more than 12 companies, so.
Thank you.
You can tell who really didn't want to come do it at $100,000 bid.
You know, people throw stuff on the wall and see if it sticks.
Just to see if it sticks, right?
Yeah.
Well,
And it's,
I got the best feeling from PDX. I've spent a lot of time talking with all of these companies. One, they came in with the best bid. But 2, they're willing to do the entire scope of the work from tear out all the way through, where not all the other companies are willing to do the tear out. They want us to do that ourselves, so.
all right, any more discussion?
Was there a motion?
No motion, no. Okay, we started discussion, okay. I guess the question was, well, how much was it? So, their motion the motion on the floor, which, go ahead and somebody wants to.
Move to
read it.
approve the $50,000 appropriation to hire PDX Pools LLC to resurface the kiddie pool at the Craig Aquatic Center.
Second.
Thank you.
I did have a question. PDX is gonna get here when? If this was approved?
Talking with Justin at PDX, they're ready to pull the Alaska licensing to come in, and ideally would like to have it done by October.
Because $50,000, I see their bid is, well, all these bids, you know, they're decent pricing. And I'm sure the city has a bunch of miles for travel.
Right.
Then we just gotta figure out the per diem basically, but 1 day fishing trip for everybody.
I know 2 of them asked that, and I'm like,
And-
I don't think you're gonna get it, you can put it on there, but that's a big ask.
Well, it's the wrong time of the year.
Right?
October.
I
Looking
can
into
take
Thorn
them
River.
fishing. Hey, I took Dan fishing, so I don't mind taking people fishing.
Fishing with the mayor. Great.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Go fishing with the mayor. I think any of us are willing to go fishing. Maybe not in October, but, yeah, I mean, maybe. Maybe get some cod.
You should make me laugh about it.
Any more discussion?
The cost of the license fee through the state?
I think it's 300 something.
Yeah, so we're not gonna be on the hook for licensing and bonding and insurance, cause you have to.
They're bonded already, we just need to cover whatever the state of Alaska fee is, which I think was $365 or $375 is what I found for pool plastering license work.
And how much money was left over from your previous project where you said it came under budget?
We came in about $2,000 under budget total on that, and did way more work than the initial project, so, yeah, that was really nice. Kinda knocked out 2 for 1. Never a bad day when you can do that.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, this is Millie. This is going to require a roll call vote.
Yes, it will.
Thank you.
Welcome. Any more discussion?
Are we taking off the fishing trip or you're offering to take them out fishing?
No. See what the weather does.
Right, weather dependent.
Weather dependent. Sure, they're not gonna, yes. Turn the heater on.
Yeah, they put it in their bid. I had 2 companies put it in their bid.
I know what to do.
Yes.
Fishing trip for my entire crew.
No more discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Jen Trojan,
Yes.
Shawna Thomas,
Yes.
Josh Bennett,
Yes.
Millie Schoonover,
Yes.
Michael Ketnich,
Yes.
Chanel McKinley.
Yes.
Thank you, council.
Kitty pool get big.
To Aquatic Center staff schedule adjustment request.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm hitting y'all back to back on things. I do.
Move to approve these staff adjustments to support a safer, more efficient aquatic facility in our community.
Second.
Second?
I had a question. Is this something you were working on just recently because you weren't getting any hires?
Now, we
Or-
have staff, but the way the aquatic center, and really I think it had a lot to do with COVID, kind of ran as a one-man show for a while. And if you or me or anybody in here were up at the aquatic center in the mornings, specifically from 5 a.m. to noon, there is one guard on staff. That building has one single person in it until I get there at 8:30 in the mornings. And with our population, the age of some of our patrons coming through, if something were to happen, one person having to manage that is scary. It's scary. Yeah, who's calling 911 while somebody else is doing CPR? You can't run an emergency code with one person. Pray nothing happens. In the event it does.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's just looking to bring in an extra full-timer in the mornings, so that building has at least 2 people in it at all times, and then 3 guards on during our high swim times, which would be the second morning swim of the day. Typically has more patrons than that very first one. There's a handful that come through at 5:30 in the morning.
And this is already in your budget, or this you're requesting additional
This
funding?
would be additional to the budget. It would be adding a part-time position and a full-time position.
So, an additional $70,000 for the aquatic center budget.
It would be.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. I feel like some of these requests are after there's months of the budget committee meeting. We finalize a budget that we say that we're going to try to abide by, and then get some of these requests. I mean, $70,000 is a lot. I'm not saying that we don't need it.
Right.
I'm sure that it's necessary for the safety.
When we initially did budget discussions, I brought this up and it was just kind of keep with the status quo.
Okay.
Yes, as the budget process goes and you start getting down to the final tax, they start cutting stuff, depending on when you come in and what your requests are. And they're not hurt sometimes, then when you do look at the big gaps in the liability, their job is, which I've always encouraged staff to come in and bring it to the council, bring your concerns to the council, and that's all we can do. We cut $200,000 off our budget this year, and unfortunately, some of this stuff that's coming to us now is where it was taken from, so. We have budgeted for a lot of this stuff, staff, and we haven't filled those positions. We got 6 positions right now.
Right.
And, so I'm not saying we could always fill all the positions even on this, but, that's where we do start having money that we can move around. Not gonna say right off the bat that's gonna cost us some additional onto our budget, but this would, if you are correct, this would be additional to the aquatic center budget. Any more discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I move to amend the totals from this whole table and just round it up to 61,000. That's meeting halfway.
Mr. Mayor, to cover the cost of,
Is there
if they're.
Second, so.
Second.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason I was wanting to do that, because if we approve 70,000, the aquatic center budget for the year is about $926,000, almost $927,000 a year. I understand a lot of that is repayment But, on the low end, we have 52,000, on the high end, we have 70,000, so if we can, the reason I wanted to go 61 is
61 or 62?
61. 52 is the low end, high end 70.
Okay,
It's
I
about
thought-
$9,000 difference, I split it. Or, I mean, 18, so I went 9.
No, I'm sorry, I put down 61,000 on your amendment. So
Yeah, 61,000.
Or
So it-
62, but it's
So
61.
it caps it at 61. That was my thought process.
Any more discussion on the amendment? Roll call vote on the amendment?
Jan Turgeon,
Yes.
Shawna Thomas,
Yes.
Josh Bennett,
Yes.
Millie Schoonover,
Yes.
Michael Kepnish,
Yes.
Chanel McKinley.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Any more discussion on the amended motion?
The only discussion I have is about all departments. Are we expected to see this from all departments?
This is only what's come up recently. This was new to me, just like it was new to you guys, so. All right, move to roll call vote.
Oh, I do have one more question.
Okay,
Where is the $61,000 going to come from, Kimber?
Like you said, there's been multiple positions that are vacant at the moment, so we can move that money if need be.
We also have the, wood chips on the budget for 30,000 if we're not using the wood boiler. There's 30,000 right there sitting.
might go into heating as well. Yeah, Mike?
I mean, that would be my thought, if you're not heating with wood, then you're heating with propane, so
Yeah.
there's a cost somewhere.
Yeah. There's gonna be, yeah,
But nonetheless, it's,
More than likely.
you know, it's a lot of money going out.
it is. There's sitting on the budget committee and hearing some of the requests that don't get approved, and then making a budget and then looking at it later. We already had an incident at the pool, you know, I mean, and this being a legitimate, I mean, people come in, they do open swim, people are in the sauna, people are in the hot tub. One person staffed is, you know, so.
It's terrifying.
And it's, so it's, this is why we're here, so. No more discussion? Move on to roll call vote as amended.
Shannon Trojan,
Yes.
Shawna Thomas,
Yes.
Josh Bennett,
Yes.
Millie Schoonover,
Yes.
Michael Kepnish, Chanel McKinley.
Yes.
All right, thank you, council. Moving on to Harbor Committee vacancy. Probably thank Pat Tyner for the 15 years of service.
Move to accept the resignation of Pat Tyner and direct city staff to begin to advertise for the open position of the Craig Harbor Advisory Committee for a period of 2 weeks.
Second.
Any discussion?
You guys are gonna give them like an award, a plaque, a letter, something nice.
We would love to.
We talked about, Becca and I had talked about doing a letter of recognition for him.
Want to maybe a little floaty with the city website to put his boat keys on? Yeah. No, public service around here is, you know, much appreciated. We've been doing it for 15 years and greatly appreciate it. Hopefully you guys find a Find a committee member. Yeah.
Could I add one thing? There have been some letters that have been submitted in interest to the committee, but I didn't feel like we need to publicly
yes.
advertise it.
Yeah.
Those letters have been accepted, and then I'll get them to you, and you and I can sit down and talk about it. The way the bylaws are set up is that the mayor makes the appointment and the council confirms the position.
Yeah, perfect. Once we advertise, and that'll be actually the right appropriate time to get all of the applicants in and make a selection.
One more thing is my leave time might hold this up a little bit.
Yes.
So,
all right.
Just to.
Yep. No worries. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Millie. Moving on to 2025 election judge appointment.
I move to approve the stipend of $200 for the chairperson judge, approve the stipend for $150 for each participating election judge, and approve a stipend of $100 for each participating relief worker election judge.
Second.
What's the paper right here?
Oh, different. Oh.
Yeah, the recommended is to move for the council to approve and appoint Ashley Butler as the 2025 election judge. It says in code that the municipality does not have somebody qualified or volunteer to do that. Ashley came over here the last couple of years and have done this for us, and she can help train staff and make sure everything's done appropriately. I believe in the past, we paid her travel over here. She has a place to stay. And this is the pricing. I'm glad we got this all under one envelope. And this approved, this was the money, this is about the money that we approved last year for the election judges. So I guess since I said it, if somebody wanted to amend to do the recommendation for Ashley Butler instead of me. Because this was a 2025 election judge amendment, and the one behind it was to appropriate funds for elections staff. So this motion was to recommend Ashley Butler as a chair.
A motion to move that the council approve the appointment of Ashley Butler as the 2025 election judge.
Second. Any discussion? All right, roll call vote.
Chanel McKinley,
Yes.
Michael Kempnich,
Yes.
Millie Schoonover,
Yes.
Josh Bennett,
Yes.
Shawna Thomas,
Yes.
Jan Trojan.
Yes.
So that was for the money. There was two motions back to back.
Yes, absolutely.
And that was for the money. And now we gotta vote on the Ashley Butler as election judge.
I believe Shawna was Ashley.
The motion on the floor was first for the
money.
For the money. Since it wasn't amended. So we have two motions on the floor. Josh is right.
So it'd be,
So-
vote on the approved the stipend.
Let's vote on the approving of the stipend. With motion on the floor, unless we want to amend for both of them, but since we already have the motion on the floor, first and seconded for the money, we'll do the roll call vote. Again, please.
Okay. Jan Trojan,
Yes.
Shawna Thomas,
Yes.
Josh Bennett,
Yes.
Millie Schoonover,
Yes.
Michael Kempnich,
Yes.
Chanel McKinley,
Yes.
Make another recommendation for a motion on the floor for Ashley Butler, then we'll.
Move that the council approve the appointment of Ashley Butler as the 2025 election judge.
Second.
All for discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, council. All right.
I moved to post a comment on the I think it's the federalregister.gov for the roadless rule on what we've come up with.
When is the deadline for this,
The
Travis?
19th. I just need a second.
The 19th, when is the next council meeting? 18th? Okay, just making sure, the council feels comfortable making a comment on this right now, or is it something that we want to get a comment on next meeting with the notified to the public?
Yeah. We notify to the public then.
Yeah, and then,
Okay, I rescind my motion.
and then it'll go out to, we'll put it in the 25 pack, it'll be out advertised for a week, and then we can put it on public comment period, as well as, or not public comment, but yeah, basically public comment, on the agenda. And then down is, approval for writing a letter for roadless rule act.
So, I mean, that would put us in a position if we, and I understand this, I'm so glad that you actually brought this up, I was going to, but that means that we would have to make some kind of decision or acceptance of a position on the 18th, and then it would have to be drafted and submitted on the 19th to be considered.
Yes, I'd like, we can look at other letters, or we can come up with a drafted letter of the way we would like to see our opinion on the roadless rule. And we'll make sure that that letter gets out on the early morning on the 19th.
We could do a resolution on that, which would
Yes, absolutely.
specify our thoughts and concerns maybe more specifically.
That's what the council would like to do.
Please.
Yes, all right,
Please.
perfect. So that'll be under resolution ordinance, or resolutions, and then public comment. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, council. Council comments.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
okay, you had, I'm sorry, I was a few minutes late, but I would, I heard during the report, under your comment in regards to, a committee to hire that. And I also understand you have 3 applications, but you're going to wait. And I don't know if that needs to be done before the next meeting, or if you plan on doing this meeting.
For the administrator position? Or for the harbor committee? No, I figured we'd wait to create a committee. I wanted to see what the committee wanted to look like. Before and I knew that everybody would be here. I wasn't sure if we wanted to seek outside sources of the city, or just have the city, as in the council, mayor, do a selection, and then on the interview process, bring in outside sources or community members to be involved, or bring them to a council meeting without knowing exactly how we want to see that structured and figuring out how they structured it last time. I figured we would put that on next week's agenda. Right now, we're still seeking applications.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, do we generally have the public a part of hiring committees for the city?
I mean, personally, looking at it, I mean, I would look at it, since this is an employee of basically the council and the mayor, and looking at the interview process, knowing that we're gonna be looking at people's applications and doing background checks, I figured it would be to the point to where we would kind of go through the process of background checks and going through the applications, and then when we found an applicant that we would like to interview, then we could bring them up for an interview and then entertain people in the community to meet and greet and see how they fit in the community, rather than getting people involved, going through the applications and the background checks and so on and so forth. That's kind of the way that I've seen it working as a council and us. And then when we go into the hiring process where we find an applicant, then of course, they can attend a council meeting, we could take them down to, even potentially Chauncey, CTA, somebody like Mr. Watson, just to meet and greet and get to know what our community's all about.
So the community wouldn't necessarily be a part of the interview process.
They shouldn't be.
Not like the selection part, I believe
Yeah,
we
that's
should
what-
select the.
I don't think
Yeah,
they should be.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
completely inappropriate.
Yes.
I mean, you run for city council because you're supposed to be representing the city, you're not supposed to, if we wanted to get the community involved, then they should run for the city council.
Thank you, and that's why I wanted to bring this, and we didn't have this on this meeting, was because heard it tonight, there's people in the community who want to be part of a hiring committee that, is basically the council.
I like the meet and greet idea, the school board did that.
But yeah, but the meet and greet is what I figured we would do with everybody. I mean, they need to see what they're, why they're here, and why they're here is to facilitate relationships with everybody in the community and see what it's all about. All right,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How we doing?
Yes. In the previous agendas and packets.
No, but I can, I mean, not off the top of my head, I can, but I can.
Yeah, move to the top.
The vendor is out of my lot.
Yes.
And someone that I know.
Every time I open Adobe, it's like I don't have enough RAM or something.
I mean, I'm happy to help.
So I have like.
No, that's what I'm happy to
Everything
do,
down, and I found
Justin,
this
so
little
actually
button.
Justin and
I
the
could
city
just
clerk.
line up
So,
conversation.
set up
I was like, before we could push that go back to the.
I think
every
they-
time.
What they're gonna probably want from us is like a drawing, just a size of whatever, if
I'm
it's
not sure
cake
why.
or whatever it is.
And,
Scroll back down to the top, just
go
whatever
back.
you want,
I'm not sure in the
you
same
know,
order.
do like a
No,
mock.
he's not
We
calling
want
that.
to-
Okay. Okay, I got you.
And-
No, I
You
did
need
put
help,
a button
raise me
down
up,
there,
I'm happy to help.
and it works on my computer, I haven't pulled it
Well,
up.
I had to, yeah, when we applied to,
Alright.
5510, I said,
Oh,
run it
there is a
through
button
5510,
there.
I don't care.
It doesn't have colors.
Okay,
Okay,
it's tracked
okay,
appropriately.
yeah, yeah, no, that's good to know how it looks. 'Cause I don't-
Awesome sauce, thanks, lady.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, good deal.
Have a good night.
Okay, guys. Oh, I'm home, James. Been at work since 6 this morning.
Oh, no. Go home, go home.
Yeah, it's time to go